Childhood is supposed to be about imagination, friendship, and innocence. A time when the line between fantasy and reality is still being drawn. But what happens when that line disappears completely? When a fictional character becomes so real in a child's mind that it leads to unthinkable violence? This is a story that shocked the world in 2014. Two 12-year-old girls lured their best friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times, claiming they did it to please a faceless internet creature called Slender Man. It's a case that forced us to confront uncomfortable questions about mental illness in children, the influence of online content, and how young is too young to understand the consequence of murder. Welcome to my Too Young for Murder series. This is a case of Morgan Geyser and the Slender Man stabbing. Payton Leutner, known as Bella to her friends, was a typical 12-year-old girl living in Waukesha, Wisconsin. She loved art, animals, and spending time with her two friends, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Ware. The three girls have been friends since elementary school. Morgan and Payton were particularly close, having known each other since they were 4 years old. Morgan Geyser came from what appeared to be a loving family, but beneath the surface, Morgan was struggling with something her parents didn't fully understand yet. Anissa was the third member of their friendship group. She had met Morgan in middle school, and the two quickly became good friends and shared interest in horror stories and internet culture. It was this shared interest that would introduce them both to Slender Man, a fictional character created on an internet forum in 2009. Slender Man was depicted as a tall, thin figure in a black suit with no face, known for stalking and abducting children. For most people, Slender Man was clearly fictional, but for Morgan, the line between fantasy and reality was about to blur in the most dangerous of ways possible. In the months leading up to May 2014, Morgan and Anissa became increasingly obsessed with Slender Man. They spent hours on a website called Creepypasta Wiki, reading stories about the character. According to later testimony, Morgan began to believe that Slender Man was real. She told Anissa that she could see him, that he was watching them, and that he would harm their families unless they proved their loyalty to him. The way to prove this loyalty? Murder. Morgan convinced Anissa that they needed to kill someone to become proxies of Slender Man. The two girls began planning for months. They researched where to stab someone to kill them most effectively. And through it all, Payton had no idea her two best friends were plotting to murder her. On the morning of May 31st, 2014, after their sleepover, the three girls went to a local park called David's Park. Morgan and Anissa had decided that this day would be the day. The three girls walked into the wooded area of the park, playing hide and seek, or so Payton thought. As they reached a secluded area, Morgan pulled out a 5-inch kitchen knife, while Anissa held Payton down. Morgan began stabbing her. Payton would later describe being scared, screaming for them to stop, begging to know what was happening. Morgan stabbed Payton 19 times. The knife penetrated her arms, legs, and torso. One wound came within a millimeter of her heart. After the attack, Morgan and Anissa told Payton to lay down, that they would get help. Instead, they walked away, leaving their friend bleeding on the forest floor. Payton, showing incredible courage, managed to crawl out of the woods to a bike path, where a passing cyclist saw her. She was rushed to Waukesha Memorial Hospital in critical condition. After being taken into custody, both Morgan and Anissa were questioned separately by detectives. The interrogation videos provide a disturbing window into their mindset in the hours after the attack. Morgan's interrogation was particularly revealing. She speaks matter-of-factly about Slender Man, describing him as if he were a real person she had no choice but to obey. Her detachment from reality of what she had done is evident throughout the footage. The interrogation raises immediate questions about Morgan's mental health and whether she truly understood the difference between fantasy and reality.
We were careless. I knew this would happen. I knew we'd get in trouble.
Well, we're just trying to sort this all right now to figure out what all happened. So you wanted to get locked up so you would get in trouble?
I didn't really genuinely want to be locked up, but at one point I sort of did. it seemed...
So you guys decided a while ago that on the sleepover night that this is what you do it?
Yeah.
Why do you think it was your sleepover night that you're doing
Because
it?
we would all be together. It was a flawless plan, actually. I don't know exactly why, though.
So you guys got the knife from your mom's house. You guys ended up going to the park.
Yeah.
And then you guys went down by the woods. Why did you guys go over by the woods?
Because we knew what we had to do. We led her there and tricked her. The last thing she said to me was, "I trusted you." And then she said, "I hate you." And then we lied to her. Anissa said that she'd go get help. I didn't have anything to do with the lying, Mom. That was all Anissa. She said we were going to go get help.
How did you trick her to get down there?
We said that we were going to go bird watching. People who trust you become very gullible, and it was sort of sad. Not like offensive, well, that's sad, but it was sad to do this.
So you guys told her you were going down there to bird watch, and then what happened?
And then we said that we were going to play hide and seek, and then Anissa jumped her, and then it was like, it happened really fast. I keep trying to forget.
So you're going to play hide and seek?
Mm-hmm. Because normally we like playing hide and seek, because hide and seek's a fun game. I like hiding.
So and then Anissa jumped her?
Mm-hmm. And she said Morgan now. Well, actually she said Kitty, because our code names for each other were Scorpion and Kitty. She was Scorpion because she tends to be aggressive, things like that.
So she said Kitty now, and what did that mean?
My name was Kitty because, well, she sort of, I have 4 cats at home, and she says that I act like a cat sometimes.
So when she said Kitty now, what did you do?
Then we stabbed her.
Who stabbed her first?
I think Anissa stabbed her first, and then I continued, and then like she was like, "Morgan, make sure she doesn't escape," and then it was like,
So you think that it was Anissa first?
Mhm.
You sure?
Yeah. Not really. It's sort of confusing because I've been trying to block out the screams all day.
So how many times? So then, how did you get the knife from Anissa?
She sort of just shoved it into my hand, and there it was. And then I didn't know what I did. It sort of just happened. It didn't feel like anything. It was like air.
So she put the knife in your hand, and what'd you do?
Then I just continued to... You know what happened, didn't you? Didn't you?
I actually really don't. Somebody else is talking to her. So you continued to stab her?
Mm-hmm. And then we decided that, and then Anissa said that it was enough, and then Bella was like, I can't see, and then I said, I'm sorry. This had to happen, and she was like, why? And then I said that it was necessary. I can't explain why. Please don't cut off my head.
Nobody's gonna cut off your head. So you guys, how many times do you think you stabbed her?
I don't know. It happened very quickly. All I heard was screaming.
How many times did you guess?
I don't know.
The knife used in the attack was recovered near the scene. Both girls were initially charged as adults with first-degree attempted intentional homicide, carrying a potential sentence of up to 65 years in prison. As the case proceeded, the focus shifted to Morgan's mental health. Morgan was diagnosed with early-onset schizophrenia. Doctors testified that she had experienced hallucinations and delusions for months before the attack. Her father had been diagnosed with schizophrenia as an adult, though her parents hadn't recognized the same symptoms developing in Morgan. Dr. Kenneth Robbins, a psychiatrist who evaluated Morgan, testified at the time of the attack, Morgan was unable to distinguish between right and wrong due to her mental illness. He stated that she genuinely believed Slender Man was real and that he would harm her family if she didn't comply. Anissa's evaluation showed different results. While she was diagnosed with a delusional disorder, doctors testified that her condition was less severe and had been influenced primarily by her relationship with Morgan. In 2017, Anissa pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree intentional homicide, but was found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Morgan's case took longer. In 2017, she pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree intentional homicide. In February 2018, she was sentenced to 40 years in a mental health institution. During sentencing, the judge, Michael Boren, stated, "What we can't forget is this was an attempted murder. This was a brutal, planned attack. Ms. Geyser fully intended that Payton Leutner would die." Payton survived and eventually gave her first television interview in 2019. She said, "I really truly believe that they were going through a mentally ill time in their life. I've come to accept all the scars that I have. It's just a part of me." In a shocking development, on November 21st, 2025, Morgan Geyser escaped from Winnebago Mental Health Institute. She was discovered missing during a routine bed check around 5:30 a.m. Morgan had been on an off-grounds walking privilege with other patients and staff when she separated from the group. She had been at the facility for over 7 years and had been showing progress in her treatment. A massive manhunt ensued, and for approximately 24 hours, Morgan's whereabouts remained unknown. Then on November 22, 2025, she was spotted and apprehended roughly 3 miles from the facility. The following body cam footage from Morgan's recapture presents a stark contrast to 2014. Now 23 years old, Morgan appears noticeably different, more mature, but also showing the effects of years of institutionalization. When officers approach her, she doesn't resist. The interaction remains calm. What's particularly noticeable is Morgan's apparent awareness of the situation. Unlike in 2014, when she seemed detached from reality, the 2025 footage shows someone who understands exactly what has happened.
We'll be fine tonight.
I just want to make sure you guys are warm.
We're fine.
Sure?
I appreciate it.
No problem. I just want to make sure you guys are kept someplace you want to go.
We're all good.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23?
Yeah.
How old is he?
She's transgender. She's
How old is she? 23? Okay. So, you don't want to obstruct an officer. Give me your name and date of birth. You're not wanted for murder, right?
Right.
Okay, then there shouldn't be any problem.
Okay, you're making it bigger.
What's your last name?
Reese.
How do you spell it?
I-E-S.
I-E-S?
Mm-hmm. No, G-R-I-E-S.
Okay. G-R-I-E-S. What's your first name?
Stephanie.
How do you spell it?
E-P-H-I-N-E.
E-P-H-I...
A-N-I-E, sorry.
A-N-I-E. Middle initial?
I don't know.
Give me your real name. Okay? Because if he comes back, no record on file also, which I hope he doesn't, because that means both of you are lying, I'm going to take you both in for fingerprints. Okay? Don't make us do all that. At this point, we're just done to 10.
Okay.
Please let her go.
Then
Please let her go.
give me your name.
I did something wrong. She didn't.
What did you
She
do
doesn't
wrong?
know what I did.
Okay, that's fine. I ain't.
Let me talk to you over here. Okay, I'll leave it. I'm putting
What,
it back.
what,
Okay.
what is it that you did wrong?
I did something really wrong.
What?
What was that to you, sir? Okay.
She doesn't know my real name.
Okay. Well,
What?
give him your real name. Don't tell him.
Okay.
What's your last name?
Why? So he says he just can't give you information.
Okay, so it's
Segment test.
Morgan.
Morgan.
And then your last name? G-U... What is it?
Geyser. I promise she did not know.
G-E-Y-S.
ER.
And then what's your date of birth?
May 16th, 2002.
Okay. So Morgan is your first name, right?
Yes.
G-E-Y-S-E-R?
No.
Let me say goodbye, please.
Okay, we will.
I will never see her again.
Yeah, you will.
No, I will.
3014. Can you take her name?
I love you.
Park 7 L12.
I love you.
Oh, yeah, this 10-8 situation, so.
You didn't know, I'm sorry.
Number 014, Morgan Geyser.
Okay.
Go ahead and put your hand in.
You said I could say
I will
goodbye.
let you. You guys going to the same place.
Following her recapture, Morgan was returned to the facility. The escape reignited public debate about the case, with Payton expressing relief that Morgan had been found without anyone being hurt. This case remains a disturbing example of how mental illness, internet culture, and childhood psychology can intersect with tragic consequences. It forces us to ask, how do we balance justice with mental health treatment when children are involved? Mental health awareness and early intervention can be the difference between tragedy and prevention. That's all for today, folks. Stay tuned for the next episode in my Too Young for Murder series. Thanks. Bye.